This is the story of a girl who accidentally entered another world. Painting. Cold hit my body. At the time, I had just returned from the library in my city. I borrowed several books from there. When I got home, my house seemed very quiet. My parents were busy with their respective jobs, and I just stayed with my mates at home. My footsteps on the stairs could be heard echoing through the house. After arriving at my room, I decided to take a shower and soak a little to relieve fatigue after the day's activities. Footsteps were heard entering the walk-in closet. Nebula, using her kimono towel, entered the walk-in closet and approached the cupboard, which contained a large collection of pajamas there. She took out pastel blue pajamas for her to wear. It was already 7 p.m. Nebula went downstairs for dinner. The dining table, which was enough for 5 people, was only filled by one. Nebula is used to living alone. Parents are busy working, don't have friends. The loneliness Nebula feels is complete. At first, the sound of crying accompanied the loneliness. But now, getting used to it is the key to letting go of the tears. After tidying up the cutlery she was using, Nebula went upstairs and returned to her room. A bed that is so comfortable can make anyone willing to stay on it for a long time. Before going to bed, Nebula decided to read the novel she borrowed. After reading for a long time, drowsiness began to come over her. Nebula fell asleep with the novel that accompanied her. The sound of the alarm started to pierce my sense of hearing, and the sunlight started to bother my eyes. I looked at the clock on the nightstand next to my bed, showing 9 a.m. Yes, it's true. It's the weekend, and today I plan to go to the art museum on the outskirts city. They said that the museum is rarely visited other than because it is located on the outskirts of the city. Now, many museums have been built in the city center, which are bigger and better. I don't know why, but I am more interested in going to museum on the outskirts of that city. I immediately rushed down from the most comfortable place in my room and went to the bedroom to clean myself and get ready to go to the museum. I wore an outfit that I thought was comfortable. I went downstairs to have breakfast, even though it was already quite late in the day for breakfast. I found a middle-aged woman who had been accompanying me when I was at home. She was Aunt Ida. I chatted with him for a while, then left. After a few minutes of walking, I arrived in front of a large building that looked luxurious with statues on the right and left side. I went in and bought a ticket. Once inside, I felt the atmosphere of the place was different. Maybe because in a museum this big, it was only filled with a few just people. I started to see paintings and statues one by one, most of which were statues or paintings of ancient Greek mythology. While I was walking, I found a large painting which seemed to be the oldest painting among the other paintings. The painting was already dusty, When I want to clean the dust around the painting, I felt as if my body was being pulled into the painting. A feeling of panic mixed with fear and darkness came over me. I felt like my head was spinning, my eyes open, my sense of sight caught the shady trees. It seems like I woke up in the middle of the forest, but I didn't know why I was here. I want to cry because I was confused about how to get home. The chirping of birds could be heard clearly in my ears. I decided to walk looking for the nearest one in the forest. After walking for a long time, I saw several houses. It seemed the goddess Fortuna was on my side this time because I found a settlement, although I was a little surprised by the clothes worn by residents in the village. I entered the settlement still confused with me. A middle-aged woman approached me. "Good morning, miss. What are you looking for?" With a confused face, the woman asked. "I'm lost in the forest and I don't know where the way home is. Can I know where this is?" "Oh, darling, you are in Apollonia village." "Apollonia?" I asked, confused. "Well, you are in the village of Apollonia, Greece," she answered confidently. "If you get lost, you can stay at my place," she continued. Because I had lost my way, I decided to stay overnight at the place of the middle-aged woman whose name I just found out was Savania. "Come in," greeted Savania. The fragrant smell of fragrant flowers immediately entered my sense of smell when I entered Savania's residence. The house was quite large but looked like an ancient building style. I was directed to a fairly large room which seemed to be my room for the next few days. That evening, Nebula went downstairs to have dinner together. Savania lived alone, so at the dining table there are only Nebula and Savania. Dinner was finished. Savania told Nebula that tomorrow there will be a fast for the gods of Olympus, so she had to prepare. Savania had also given Nebula a dress to wear tomorrow. After that, Nebula immediately cleaned the dining table and washed the cutlery she was using. After finishing cleaning the cutlery, Savania invited Nebula to go to bed. The moon turned the sun. The atmosphere in the village looked busy because there was going to be a party. Savania and I had breakfast and cleaned up the house. Then we got ready to go to where the party was being held. As if it were a sea people, the place was visited by lots of people, but among the thousands of people, there were a few people who were very shining. I conclude that they were gods and goddesses of Olympus. Savania invited me to join. After an hour of the party going on, I started to feel bored. I decided to go outside. I saw a lake near the party and went there. Suddenly, someone tapped me on the shoulder from behind. I was shocked beyond words. When I turned around, I found the figure of a very handsome man wearing a dark robe attached to his body. "Hey, sorry ma'am, for the startling you. I just want to ask, what are you doing here? He said. It's okay. I just want to get some fresh air because it's very crowded and stuffy there. You are not like a woman in general. Usually, they will be willing to stay there just because to see the gods and goddesses. I think I've seen enough of them. You are unique and beautiful. My name is Nebula. What is your name? Hades. After Hades introduced himself, Sevenia called me. I think it's time for me to go home. Will we meet again? Sure, I'll meet you here. They become close and met often. This morning, Nebula will meet Hades at her usual place. She brought Hades food to eat together by the lake. When she arrived at the lake, she sat under a tree to wait for Hades. She had been waiting for Hades for an hour, but man never came. Nebula was tired waiting for Hades. Disappointed, Nebula decided to go home. Sevenia felt sorry for Nebula, but she couldn't do anything but encourage the woman. 1 month has passed. Nebula has been looking for Hades for a month, but Nebula still hasn't found the man. Currently, Nebula is in cave near the lake that she usually goes to. This cave is a place that Nebula just met last Sunday. When she entered, Nebula saw someone lying limp with another person standing looking at Nebula. Who are you? Nebula asked loudly, even though she was a little scared. You definitely know who is man lying limp is, said the man. Nebula approached to see who the man lying limp was, and her eyes opened wide when he saw that the man lying limp was the man she had been looking for. It was Hades. Nebula lifted Hades' head and placed it on his thigh. The man was very weak. His condition was very sad. Seeing that, Nebula cried. Very regretful. The interruption came from Zeus. What do you want? Nebula sneered. It's simple. I just want you to get away from Hades so my daughter can be with him. Yes, that's right. I'm Persephone's father. So, this is all you're doing? A flash of anger flashed through Nebula's eyes. Of course, if you want him to be safe, there is only one condition. What are the conditions? Answered Nebula firmly. Go back to your world, and I will erase your memory of everything here. Are you crazy? Snapped Nebula. The choice is yours, Nebula. Return to your world or suffer, said Zeus. I will come back. Nebula's decision was made. She also couldn't get too lost in a world where she didn't know why she was here. She has to keep returning to reality because her place wasn't here. But I can say goodbye to Sevenia. You only have a moment, Nebula. Nebula ran towards Sevenia's house. She immediately went inside and looked for Sevenia. Hey, don't run. You might fall. After she met Sevenia, she immediately hugged the woman. I don't have much time. I'll go goodbye, Sevenia. Nebula immediately let go of her hug. Sevenia wanted to hold the girl to stay longer, but Nebula had already left. Nebula immediately ran back to the cave. Without realizing, her tears fell. After arriving at the cave, Zeus welcomed her back with a smile that could not be interpreted. "I'm ready," said Nebula. "You just keep quiet, and you will come back together with the memories of this world already gone. Goodbye, Hayden." The end.